This feels good. It has been so long since we've done this. But
It's been forever.
yeah, it was like what, 6 months ago when we actually uploaded one.
I think.
We did a 9.5, but we took it down because it was extremely controversial. But welcome to that random show. I'm your host, Randomer Sif, and then your co-host Sub 0285.
Yep.
It feels so good saying
You
that.
can just call me by my
Or
name.
you can just call him Hexton.
Because everyone knows my name on my channel at this point. I mean, from just saying my name in videos just over the past like year, just random videos that get my name said in them, or in my live streams where just it's easier instead of saying sub, just say my name with my friends. So it's just kind of commonplace now.
Yeah, what's funny is that, like, my online friends, when I see them in real life, they call me Randomer still. Still call me Randomer because they're so used to that now. But what I wanted to talk about today was, I think, school, because I've been noticing that a lot of podcasts have been talking about this topic, about the whole idea of school.
Right.
What is your honest opinion on the school system? Because, I mean, you still have 2 years to go. I'm done in a week.
Yeah. So, honestly, the thing that I like about school is the social aspect of it. While some people might disagree with that, obviously. Cause some people get bullied or, too much attention, blah, 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 whatever it is. Public opinion is obviously a thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of neutral in any of those aspects, so I am just kind of just a loner. Kind of, I have friends I talk to, obviously, and that social aspect is really important for me.
Yeah.
I mean, during COVID or whatever, it was really paramount, and that I needed some sort of social life.
Like an enclosed feeling, like feeling trapped.
Yeah, yeah. And I needed something social, and so went to went into 8th grade, and that social life definitely helped me.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, my grades weren't good, but that's just from not being in school for 2 years.
Yeah,
and
for
coming
sure.
back and whatever, and going from not caring to caring is very, very weird. Especially, I mean, I even talked to my counselor about something. And how it's a completely different arrangement for me, specifically in my head, how I play out situations and scenarios, and how I can just turn back on, walking down a path, and I can just turn back instantaneously, and go back another one, which apparently is really weird for you to do.
I mean, I could see that. I could see that as being weird, but at the same time, I really can't because I feel like I kind of do that, but not really.
Yeah, I guess weird when I said it was that I went from having D's and F's in 8th grade and having over 430 missing assignments.
Jeez, I remember that.
To going into freshman year and coming out with a 4.0 GPA, all A's, no missing assignments.
Yeah.
That turnaround time. I mean, normally people turn around, sure, but it takes them a while.
Yeah.
To do that, versus where I went from nothing to everything in just the span of 1 year, which I guess was really weird.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And what I'm noticing more and more is that I'm able to just turn around situations in a way, or mentally speaking in a way. I mean, I had a mental breakdown about a month ago or so, and it is scary.
Yeah.
To have thoughts of
certain things, yeah.
Yeah. And
we would talk about them, but we really can't. Why am my mom calling me? Hello, Mother. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what the heck is he even here?
Yeah.
Okay, have him make me hammer up some tea before we head to work.
Okay. Sorry, guys. That was my mom. I had to answer it, otherwise I would have died. But that is a good point, though, because I think for a lot of people now, when it comes to school, that's the whole reason why they even still go in the first place, is because of that social aspect. Because for me, for sure, if I'm not at school, I am so depressed. Like, I am the most depressed person in the world. It's not the schoolwork, it's the social part of school. Because, like, that's where I met some other people, like, outside of our small friend group. I met one of my good friends, Braden, who you know, Tyler, some other people. And I met them because they were the first ones to talk to me in school. And I feel like it'd be weird in a world where you're doing school at home, because a lot of kids now, when they think about COVID, imagine having 2 years off. No, you don't ever want to have to deal with that. That was like the worst moment of my life, the worst 2 years I could possibly say.
And actually, I just thought about, my friends always make jokes about how for like 2 years I was playing Siege constantly. The only thing I was playing was Siege, and I got really got good at the game. Which that last part is true. I got really good at the game with Siege, and I got Siege right before COVID.
Yeah.
Around I want to say it was October of 2019 is when I got Siege and started playing it, and then ramping up into 2020, and then towards the end of 2020 was that more lockdown situation, and to the point where I would just be playing it every day. When I ended up switching to homeschooling, I mean, I would spend 3 hours just looking up the answers and putting them in, and then that was it.
Yeah. I wish I did that. Wish I thought that far.
Well, for me it was really easy because it was just a book and all the answers are at the back of the book.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
And so I just did that, and I'd get off. I mean, I'd wake up at like, I'd say 7 o'clock, roughly. Spend 2 hours, and I'd do my homework for about 3 hours. So it'd be like noon by the time I'd be done with it, and I'd just go have lunch and just play Siege the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And
literally that area where like we did that video was literally right over there.
Yes, right here.
Literally right over there. We sat down and recorded that Edgenuity video, and ironically, literally it gained hundreds of views in like the first couple of days, and it was crazy because like so many people commented on that video. That is the most commented video that I think together combined we have. Like that literally.
Well, I have the
Well, yeah, you have that video, but when I was going through both of them, the Edgenuity one has like double, literally double. It really surprises me how many people commented, and like people were replying and stuff, and it's just like, it's a feeling of like, thank God I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not the only one going through hell. Excuse my language.
And I think something that I don't know if you have to deal with it, but actually you don't have to deal with it, I don't think, is semester test. Which for me are coming up in 3-4 weeks from now. And gosh, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I know. The schools don't take into account that like students can't sit there and learn. They have like certain students have to be taught differently, and like schools suck at that. Like I can't name one single school where I know that they go up to each individual student. How do you learn? Is this how you learn? Is this working? Do I need to move you closer? Do I need to do this? Do I need to... No, they don't. Schools honestly could care less. As long as they're getting paid, they could care less, in my opinion.
And I totally agree with you. Is that I have something wrong with my memory. I know that I do. If I'm trying to think back to the grand, like the whole day or that, I can't remember anything. But if you tell me something, then I can remember it, like really specifically.
Yeah.
It's almost like what's it called? When you almost take a photo in your head.
Yeah, the shatter effect, kind of, people refer to. I use the shatter effect. You don't have to switch it, but the shatter effect I use for when I want to remember something. So like this soda here. Okay, the soda's right here by the pot. Okay, now I want to remember that the soda's right there. Now in my brain, I'm gonna imagine that the soda just shattered right now in my brain. Everything, it just shattered like glass. And ironically, if I forget where it is, I can just come back to it and I remember. Oh, it's shattered by the pot. My brain will remember that, and it's something I've always used, especially for my car keys, my wallet, and my phone. I always use that now. So like before we started it, even I did the whole shatter effect on all three of the objects so that I would remember.
Yeah, like for me, it's a little bit different. I think it's just because how my brain works.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But it's a similar thing, but it's all stored in my head, but I just can't think of it until someone gives me a scenario, or they tell me something specifically. Then I can relate back to that memory and then give detail of it.
Yeah.
And yet again, did that in counseling too, and it really helped.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, that's good. It's definitely good to have someone to talk to other than your family or your friends, because they're neutral. They can give you advice whether it's your family or friends, because you can definitely have differences when it comes to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
A counselor's just, I don't know, I guess, what's the word? Kind of like a brick wall. You can just sit there and scream and like...
To a certain extent.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But, I mean, as much as I would love to be done with school, the social part is what I'm going to miss the most, is because, like, when I'm ever sick or, like, when COVID happened, I didn't realize, like, how depressed I got.
Yeah.
Like, it really didn't hit me until, like, would say November. It was, like, around November is when it was, like, at my peak of, like, wow, life sucks. Life is horrible. And like all I played was Siege, all I played was Call of Duty. Like I literally never did any of my schoolwork. That's why I'm at the alternate school, if anyone's wondering. It's just weird that I am
But
done
you're all
on the
caught up
7th.
now.
Yeah, I'm all cut up now. But it's weird that I'm gonna be done on the 7th. But I also don't want to be.
Yeah.
It's not the school part that I miss, it's the social part that I'm gonna miss. Like, it still blows my mind. It seriously blows my mind that in 2 weeks I'll be walking. I'll be walking across the stage for my diploma. That is, that's insane. That is so insane.
And I'm gonna be really busy during the next 2 weeks because of similar aspects. In the point that I need to take photos for people.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about as well. Is if you don't know, in the last however long it's been since we did this last, I've gotten really into photography, and I've done photography for like 2 years now, but the last couple months have been where it's really picked up.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a point for everything. Really, it takes a long time to get to the point where it feels like it's ramping up, but when it does, it ramps up fast.
Yeah.
And I've definitely felt that, because I have...
You think about it every day, too. It's the number one thing on your mind.
Like, Carter's family wants me to go take family photos for them, and so then that logistics of, alright, need to actually go talk to him, figuring all that out, that's constantly in my head, and I actually need to go talk to him. It's been about 5-ish days of just kind of waiting out.
Yeah.
Friends want me to take their graduation photos and that forth. I mean, it's the aspect that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
But then when you actually have to do it, it's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
And then being, I wish I could say employed by the school, but I don't get paid for any of the work I do. So,
yeah.
Can't really say it's an employment. More like an opportunity.
Intern based?
Yeah, intern based. Where I went and took photos of the lunch staff for the school district.
Yeah.
Which was actually really fun, about 30 minutes out of school, going to another school and taking photos, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
And then going in and doing some videography work. I mean, it's hanging up in my room right now. There's a little VIP pass
Yeah.
that I got from the teacher who employed me or interned me to do it, and went out and took videos, B-roll shots, and I suppose mainly B-roll shots for prom.
Yeah.
Best buddies prom would be more specific.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and it's crazy because that's only happened in the last month.
Yeah.
Where 2 months ago, it was just going out and taking some photos and just buying new lenses
Yeah.
and just investing. And now people are actually wanting to use me for my work
Mm-hmm.
and buy
Yeah.
stuff from me that I don't have the logistics to do, which makes me really sad because it's like people want my work, but I can't give it to them
Yeah.
easily. That is.
Yeah. What do you think about the school system? What would be a big thing you would change if you had the power right now to change that?
I mean, how it is, I'm more neutral in that aspect. I don't feel like there's that big of a need to really change anything that I personally think, because I was able to pick out my classes. I was able to go do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I like doing what I am doing in school. I mean, and I've gotten to a scheduled routine. I don't really have any homework at the end of the day. So that's just really nice. Like my schedule is pretty eased out during the whole day. I have English and science right away in the morning,
Yeah.
which isn't that bad. Then I have study hall right after that, which is nice because then that gets me caught up in any work I would have not finished in those two classes.
Yeah.
And typically I get done and then I have nothing to do. And then that kind of carries into my 4th and 5th period classes, which are marketing and photography respectively.
Yeah. What about the kids that are in like middle school? They don't have free will to say what they want to say in their classes. The kids in intermediate, elementary, just things you got to think about, because like those kids are struggling just as much as the high schoolers, if not more, because they have this whole idea in their head that high school's so hard because that's what you're taught when you're growing up. The teachers don't care. The teachers are strict. You don't turn in your homework, 0% on everything, and that's like the complete opposite. The complete opposite about high school.
Yeah, again, to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
is what I would say. It's, for me, it was very weird, switching over, just because that first 2 days I had kind of mental breakdowns over everything, just because I wasn't used to that much social life.
Yeah.
And any of that.
Yeah.
But from where I've begun in elementary, I've changed throughout every school year. I feel like I've changed in some way.
Yeah.
That either be my history with anger issues, or that would be my history in getting good and bad grades. I mean, started off in the first 2 years of elementary school, 1st and 2nd grade, and I had decent grades, kind of just staying between everyone, kind of just average grades in that respect. Then
Yeah.
going into 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, trying to excel at what I do and trying to get the best I can. Then having that crash down in 6th grade and 8th grade. I mean, 8th grade was probably the lowest point in my school career,
Yeah.
realistically, just because towards the end of 6th grade was a slight decline and then a giant crash in 8th, then a sudden uprising come in freshman year, and that's just kind of continued through. I mean, I'm having challenges this year just because I am having to go and do more stuff for the school,
Yeah.
or I'm just having to leave more because of family issues and that such.
Yeah.
But I still try to keep my grades high as best I can. I mean, my GPA, my GPA has gone down from a 4.0 last year to a 3.94, and more realistically, that's going to go down to about a 3.9 come the end of this year. But even at that aspect, that's to be expected.
Yeah. That's still good too compared to a lot of the kids. Something else that I wish that schools wouldn't do was the numbers matter only, nothing else. Because you get a D on a test. Oh, you're stupid. Yeah, you suck. You're not good at this subject. And like, I hate that that's still like a thing to this day. Like, if you get an F on a math test, you're stupid. You're not of what the world expects. You don't qualify with the needs in this world, and that's like the complete opposite. Like there's so many people that have dropped out of high school that are billionaires now. literal billionaires, and like it truly frustrates me for sure, because my family wants me to go to college, and like I totally get it, because my dad was in the military. It's basically free college, but like personally for me, I don't want to do that because that isn't gonna make me happy. You know, I don't see college as like helping me with YouTube. Like I don't really understand what it is.
There are aspects of college, classes in college, that could help you expand your career.
Well, I'm just saying, because
videoing, filmmaking, whatever.
Because
that you're doing.
the military isn't going to pay for all of it. I still got to pay something, but I don't want to go there for 2 weeks, pay $5,000 for a semester, and then never do anything with that. That's $5,000 down the drain. Okay, now I'm in $5,000 of debt. How am I going to pay that off?
And most people find they try to make it into an investment cost. You have to think about it as the positive, not the negative, because most people think about it as the negative.
Yeah.
And that you are wasting $5,000 in classes that you don't know what you're going to end up doing. But that's true most of the time. Most people go into college thinking and taking classes of what they're wanting to do, but they end up switching over to something that they find better because they went to college. They went to college and found a class that they like and they want to do, and so then they switch their career path midway through it, which does cost more money. But you have to think about it not as a waste, but as an investment, because if they didn't go and spend $5,000 on a class thinking of what they're going to do, how would they find that other class that they are doing right now and that they find that will give them a career path later on?
Yeah. I love that you think that, for sure. Like, I think that's definitely a positive thing. But like I said, a lot of people think differently, for sure. Like, everyone thinks their own way, and like, you know, growing up, I was told if you never go to college, you will never amount to anything in your life. You're going to be a nobody. You're going to be homeless. You won't ever be that person you want to be.
And that's how it used to be. It used to be the fact that people that didn't go to college simply didn't get a good career. But that's not true now.
I wish I could agree with that, but that's still a big, what's the word? What's a really good word to describe this? It's a stereotype still. It's literally one of the biggest stereotypes in this world. And like, say a person doesn't want to go to college, but they're like, okay, well, I've got nothing to do with my life anyway. But they go to college, they get a degree, they can't even use that degree. What if they get a degree in medicine? They didn't even want to do medicine. Okay, now they just wasted 30 plus years becoming a doctor, and now they don't even want to be a doctor anymore because that's not what made them happy. And it's just like,
I mean, doctor is is a very strong career, and people that typically go to a school meant for that want to do it because it is such a big cost to go to it and just feel like you're wasting money. I'd say that's more typical of people that do work as like filmmaking or editing, where it seems that you're not going to do much because, you know, the big ticket, so to speak, is doing work and going and getting a degree in filmmaking or editing, in that respect, and then going to Hollywood or something and trying to make a blockbuster film. And that's where I feel like that's more applicable, is where they spend so much time, set of money to do this stuff, and they don't get to do what they want to do because they don't have a concrete base.
yeah.
They have the skills necessary, they have the experience necessary to do it, but they haven't built themselves up. I mean, it's starting from rock bottom and trying to work your way up to ground level.
Yeah.
Versus where if you can get connections and if you have connections and whatever, then you're working from ground level and working your way up to the sky.
Mm-hmm.
You're not working from rock bottom to the sky. You're working from ground level. And that's that step up from rock bottom to ground that people find where they want to quit.
Yeah.
Because it's so much work climbing up to ground level. Then it's easier. Because instead of having to climb, you're building.
Yeah. Another thing too is like most stuff today, you don't even need college. And like a lot of people like really don't believe that. And like obviously with like doctors and lawyers, that's just common sense. You have to go to school for that because you have to learn all these like laws and medicines and disease names and stuff. And like, but then there's also like real estate. You used to have to go to college for stuff like that, but now you don't even have to. You can just learn that in your free time. You, if you have friends who are into that type of stuff, you can literally be an
And
intern.
yet again, that is connections.
Yeah, having connections too, that like also pushes you forward as well.
Yes, and that's an aspect that's definitely helped me in my photography. Being able to go and take a photography class in high school taught me more about the camera, taught me how to actually use the camera in a right way. I mean, sure, you don't need to take that class, but why not?
Yeah.
And doing that has helped me, and that's given me connections to go and do opportunities that I wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah.
Obviously, and that's the same aspect. Like doing those short films that we did in the Echoes of the Unknown, whatever, and like a year or two ago, has given me opportunities now.
Yeah.
In the fact that I showed one teacher that, and that teacher showed another teacher. Now that teacher's giving me opportunities to go out and film Best Buddies Prom. And he's actually has a project coming up that requires someone to film and edit stuff, and he wants me to do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that, yeah, again, that's just opportunities and taking that chance.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is stupid for people to not take that chance when you're given an opportunity that out of, for example, in school, out of 1,300 students, and they've only asked 5 other people. Why aren't you taking that opportunity? That is such a big opportunity. Why it doesn't seem like it, and it seems like you just say no and move on. That opportunity can lead to more later on.
Yeah.
It shows your work. You're starting to build up. Like, you're on ground level because you have those connections. And now you're starting to build up your skyscraper little by little. Right now it's on the first floor. You have nothing furnished, sure. But even having that step done is a huge step because that means you've already built a place.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for overall though, I don't know why we act like school is like a regular thing. I feel like most people when they go into school, they're motivated to do all these things. They're like motivated to, whether it's starting a YouTube channel or becoming a nurse or becoming a lawyer even. But I feel like most kids that come out of school are even more depressed than they were before. Because not only were all these things thrown at them all at once, they don't know what to do. They were just thrown out into the world now, and like all of a sudden it's like, bam, you're an adult now. Good luck. Like that. That sucks because like school originally, and we're still using the same system to this day, was built to create workers. Yeah. Raising your hand. If you don't raise your hand, that's disrespectful. Like you're not doing what's required, and like you're just required to do all these things, and like I don't know how to word any more of it because it's like it's been talked about so much now. But like I seen this one image, it showed like these kids like rainbowed, and then the building's like a steam factory, but it says school on it, and then on the other side the kids are great and sad and not smiling anymore. Because like I think the thing that like hurt the most was bringing homework on a weekend. Oh, like it's like, what are you doing to me, bro? Like now not only did I not now am I not getting a break that I much need, now I'm having to worry about school over the weekend now. Why do I feel like I need to bring school home now when that should be staying at school type of thing? And then it's like, here's 70 vocab words. Learn this tonight. Good luck. We have a test tomorrow. You better remember all them, or if you don't, you're going to fail.
And that's not true in my case. I mean, my teacher gives us, and I think that's for every English teacher, at least in our school, gives at least 1 week. That means in that week you're going to learn 20-ish so vocab terms and definitions, and then at the end of the week you're going to test. My teacher gives us 2 weeks. That's just because of the class I'm in.
I was kidding, by the way. I was exaggerating it, but still, that can still be a lot for a lot of kids.
And it can, especially because I don't feel like while they do acknowledge the fact that there are other classes, and that's why the workload has decreased to a point where they're trying to get people to be able to get done in class.
Junior year. Oh, I don't think I've ever had that much homework before, man. Like, okay, now I have vocab words for English. Okay, now I have vocab words for science. Now I have vocab words for history. Now I gotta remember 100 plus vocab words now. What else? What other classes could there be? I just named 3. Oh, math. You gotta remember math formulas now too. You gotta remember all of this, and you get, say, 2 pages of homework assignments from each class, because that's how it was for me. And you have to get these done tomorrow, or you will get a late grade. And that was like the most stressful thing for me, because it was like, now I don't even have any free time now. Now I gotta worry about this instead of like actually trying to live some kind of life other than just acting like what isn't happening out there and stuff.
And again, everyone's different. I mean, your experience is definitely different from my experience right now. Yes, I do have homework, and yes, I don't get it done in class, but my workload is very different. In the fact that a lot of people put a lot of work on them all at once, and then they get stressed out by that. That's what I didn't want to do. I wanted to have a pretty peaceful overall workload, something that I can actually do and finish in class, or have 20 minutes outside of school to finish.
Yeah.
In that respect, I think I've done quite well by being able to not only, because a lot of people think of a study hall as a bad thing, which is absolutely not true. I mean, they encourage students to have a study hall for that reason, is that typically they're going to get overwhelmed fast.
Yeah.
And that by having a study hall, that gives them a chance to decompress and work on some of that in school. That's 45 minutes just to work in school. It's there, and then that...
It also depends what time your study hall is, too.
Exactly. I mean, mine went from being 8th period to 3rd period.
I had a buddy who had the study hall at the beginning of the day. Like, oh, that would suck. I would rather have it at the end of the day more than anything.
Like, I personally would prefer 8th period study hall, specifically just because the fact of the matter is I can get done with all my other classes, have all my homework given to me, and so I actually know exactly what I need to finish. Versus right now when I have 3rd, sure, I might have English and science, which are my first 2 classes. Then I get those done. Then what does the rest of the day hold? And typically I can get my marketing done, my photography done, and then I have lunch. So it's kind of whatever. And so I can get those 2 done in class, and I have nothing to do. But then comes math. Typically I always end up having math homework now, just because of the fact of the matter is I am more, how do I say this? I take my time. And so I like learning this stuff. That's why I want to take the class that I'm in right now. Sure, I'm not able to take the classes I always want. If I could, I'd not want to take English. I'd rather substitute that out for a different class.
Yeah.
But, you have to.
Yeah.
But even that option of picking out classes is big. And I feel like, obviously, it's a little weird having upperclassmen have more of a chance in getting in class than lowerclassmen. Because, really that shouldn't be the case.
It should be all fair and square.
But then, obviously the school, the administration system thinks that because they've been here longer, they should have a higher chance of getting of what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for seniors, obviously that opportunity should be more, because they've already gone through all the work, and now they have more opportunities to have free periods.
Yeah.
And have a chance to be in school less, and maybe interning somewhere else and getting paid for that intern work and learning about what they want to do, what they could be doing. And yet again, that is honestly one of the huge parts about being in the school that we're in, is they have so many opportunities outside of school. Dual credit classes, CTE classes, when you're in high school taking those. I mean, people who have taken those classes go into college and have that first year where they can do whatever they want because they've already taken classes, they've already gotten credits that say that they don't need to take a certain class. I mean, people have gotten dual credit English classes, so they go into college and don't need to take English that first year.
Yeah.
And that can be filled out with another thing they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that. I mean, where we're at, we have this. We're the best school in the state, and that's not supposed to be bragging. That's not supposed to be anything. But the opportunity and the chances we have, I don't think are fully taken up by the students. And I think
a lot of students feel trapped for sure.
Yeah.
Stuck because it's like, well, if I'm halfway through this class and it's not what I want to do, I can't back out now. I have to just take it.
And they give you that week of, you start school, you have 1 week to switch out the class without failing that credit.
Yeah.
Which I think that's an opportunity that, yet again, people don't take.
Yeah.
If they don't like the class, they have 1 whole week to switch it.
Yeah.
And they just don't take that chance. So, yet again, I feel like it's not really the school system to blame.
Sorry, I thought it was Carter. Go ahead.
But it's the students.
Yeah.
As much as that sounds weird, I'm talking in a sense that I am not, that I'm not a student, which I am. But I think the way I've paced myself and the way I've done school so far has given me the opportunity to talk like this. Because I've taken those chances. I've done what I want to do. I know what I want to do right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel in a sense of confusion and frustration. I feel like I'm taking the classes that I want to take, and I'm doing them successfully. I'm doing them well, and I feel like I am learning from them.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like necessarily I'm taking them for credit. I'm taking them for the social aspect, for the study, and to just learn. Which I think everyone should think of that, not for the credit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, when I'm picking out classes, I'm thinking of credits. Because credits are what's going to get you to pass. But when you're in the class, you shouldn't be thinking of credits. What you should be thinking about is what you're learning about.
Well,
and why it helps you.
Yeah. It's hard, though, because you're like... It's hard to not focus on the credit, because then it's like, oh, I'm starting to fail. Now I have to focus on this part of the credit. I can't even focus just on the whole class anymore. I have to focus on not failing, because if I fail, now I'm even more behind. Because I know one kid who was technically a senior. He was missing 14 credits. He dropped out. And like, I don't blame him, because that's like, you would basically be going to school
for 2 more years of work.
You would basically be going to school for 2 more years, and I definitely could see that being, nope, I'm done. There's no point anymore. I'm going to be taking 2 more years out of my life. I might as well start pursuing what I love the most now. But, I mean, if you want to go to college, you obviously have to. You have to put that work in, or get your GED. But you have to put those work in if you want to do both of those.
And yet again, what you're saying is just not pacing yourself, which yet again is partially why people drop out so much, because they don't pace themselves. If they were to pace themselves more, give them the chance to take breaks in school, that'd be just walking in the hallway and not worrying about what they're doing next. I
think it's hard though, because like a lot of kids don't think about that in the moment. Whereas there's someone like you who finds school easier. Now, I'm not saying that you do or you don't, but as someone for you who finds school easier, for someone who doesn't find school easier, they don't think about taking a break. They feel like they can't take a break necessarily. Like if they take a break, then they're more behind, because I do the same thing still. Like whether I want to fix it as hard as I've tried, it's just the way I've grown up, and it's like it's hard to reverse that and think that different mental state. As to where someone else could be like, in 10 days, I'm going to do a handstand, and I will do it. As for someone who struggles with that kind of kind of mentality, it may take them over a year to even do that.
Attempt to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of know what you're talking about in the sense, because in 8th grade it was definitely a lot of catch-up work. Of course, I didn't do anything outside of school. That's why I had such bad grades, why I had so many missing assignments. But in school, I'm so thankful for the teacher, my study hall teacher, who told me that you shouldn't be worrying about stuff that is late already.
I wish I had those people like that, because I had so many mental breakdowns my junior year. Like, I probably was having one every day.
Yeah, you shouldn't be worrying about stuff that's already late. You should be worrying about stuff that's due tomorrow, that's due the next day, because in the end, those are what's gonna get you grades in. And if you're focusing on stuff that's already late and behind, getting that done and turning that in, then boom, there's 2 other missing assignments because you didn't turn in the stuff that was already due.
It's hard for that as well. I'm not trying to start an argument or anything, but it is especially hard because it's like, whoa, I missed a week of school. I was sick. Now I have this whole week of assignments that I have to do. Now I got a new fresh of work to do. It's like with words as well. Now you have to remember these words and these words. Which one do you pick? Do you pick learning these words and then failing these ones, or do you learn your old words and potentially fail the new ones? Because now you have to counterbalance yourself. You have to take that time now. No free time. You can't give yourself any more free time now. You have to do it. You have to get up. You have to stay up late. Still get up at the same time that you usually do. It just feels like you never catch a break.
And I was there. I mean, just a month ago or so, I was gone for 2 days because of a funeral.
Oh frick! Oh, that hurt.
And because of that, coming back, I had 2 days worth of assignments to catch up on, and that took me about a week and a half just to work on the work that was already given to me and work on the 2 days of work.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying to that point, and especially when you leave for a week and think that you need to get it done within that next week.
Especially if you're given a time limit too.
Yeah. I mean, and sure, I ended up, because I was gone for only 2 days, they would give me 4 days to catch up on all that stuff, which for me just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it took me a week and a half, which in school terms is roughly, 7 days of school. And so, yes, those were counted as missing assignments originally, but because at least I turned them in, because I'm in good terms with the teachers, and because they know that I am also working on getting stuff done that is due the next couple days, and stuff that's already late, they give me some grace in that aspect, which I think is difficult for other people to do. And so again, I'm just a little bit different in that aspect, but I still feel like it's necessarily about pacing yourself in that. You shouldn't, sure, you get a time limit, but it's okay to go past that time limit if you need to.
Yeah. I mean, I do disagree a little bit though, because then it's like you don't have a lot of time now. And like that time limit, because there's a lot of teachers at the high school that I can say that do not care. That legit do not care. And I had a lot of those type of teachers, because I remember one day in class, I was gone for a whole week because of COVID. I ended up getting COVID, and I came back, and I was like, hey, you're going to have to give me time. You're going to have to give me like a couple weeks to get this stuff done because I am so behind. And she said, grow up. Those 2 words at that point completely made me change how I thought about things. I shut down. I stopped playing video games for a while. I'm sure you remember. I stopped talking to you. I stopped talking to Spencer and Carter. I didn't talk to any of my good friends for like 3 months straight during that November to January period.
And I'm saying that from my aspect in which I have connections, and I'm on good terms with the teachers, because they're my photography teacher. a lot of the students say she's a really bad teacher because they just simply are not on good terms with their teachers, and so then they're putting negative aspects into other students, and then those students get warped and everything. And so, but for me, I'm perfectly fine
Because you have connections.
I have connections, and I'm on good terms, and I get my stuff done. It's not like I am purposely, or not have to say purposely necessarily, but just like not getting my stuff done. Is that I at least try to get my stuff done, which I think most students don't do.
Yeah.
And then that's why they end up losing credits, having bad grades, and then they drop out, is because they simply don't take advantage of what they could be doing. And I think that's what makes me really weird is apparently I act way older for my age, obviously, and it's weird for students to take that aspect of taking opportunities and creating connections.
Yeah.
Because they find it's easier to talk to another student than to talk to someone who's older, like a teacher, which is true. I mean, people typically, like, yet again, in photography is a great example because it's already happened to me. They have asked me for help over the teacher because, first off, they've seen what I can do. They've seen that I have the necessary skills to help them, but they feel more comfortable talking to me than the teacher.
Yeah.
But I feel more comfortable personally talking to teachers than other students.
Yeah.
Because I act older. I like to just do that naturally, I suppose. And I guess my mind is I act older. In my mind, I don't typically see myself as a normal student. I care. That's just weird.
Yeah.
And so, for me, it's just easier to have those connections with the teachers than having connections with the students, which often, for me at least, kind of leads to a kind of a weird depressive state, because it seems like I'm really lonely because I don't have necessarily a whole lot of friends outside of school who just don't have a lot of friends outside of school who are willing to just kind of hang out and talk all the time. And so then in school, talk to friends, have that connection, but it's only in school that happens. And I end up generally speaking, I'm friends with older people than my age, which that be just 17, 18-year-olds, versus my actual grade age.
Yeah.
Just because I act older than them, and it's really funny. My I wouldn't say necessarily friend, but a acquaintance that I another term to say is friends only in that time period, that physical science second period, where we only see each other one time that day during that period till we're good friends in just that class.
Yeah.
And he guess kind of it's more of like table mates. And the kid that was sitting across from me was kind of lightly punching another kid that was sitting across to his left, and because the kid messed on him, and then obviously I know better to not just walk in on that situation to stop it, but I always end up doing that exact thing, is stepping in, because I feel like there's a need for some level of protection. Obviously, just having another person step in and being on the side of the person who is being attacked is huge. And again, most people don't have that. And so it's my I don't know if it's just because people don't act older and they don't act like they should step in, with that situation, which people have been told not to step in that situation and just let it happen, which I think is stupid.
That's super stupid.
And so then I step in, I stop a situation, ideally before it happens.
Yeah.
And then students notice that. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I checked the announcements, and apparently I was a Link Sway leader.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did, but I was, I suppose, nominated without knowing anything.
Yeah.
And so it's like that. It makes those subtle differences out of what I'd say. What I have 356 students in my class, my sophomore class, and me and one other person were nominated for this month. And that's kind of weird to think about,
Yeah.
obviously. And then again, that's just opportunities in acting in the way I do.
Yeah.
Opportunities that were given to me because of what I do. And so that all goes, I think that all goes back into just more of my mentality, which is, it's kind of hard to word it, almost. But is to just not give up. I mean, that's what I told myself when going into freshman year, is that I will not fail. I refuse to fail. I'm going to achieve success. And that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. Yeah, sure, I matured, more mature. That's a better way of saying it, more mature. And I act in that sense. And so I guess it all goes back to your mental state and how you act mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a really weird case in that the aspect that I can just switch on a dime, go from 0 to actually having something, from nothing to having something, and that has helped me greatly. Giving those chances, opportunities. I mean, there's in the way I act is very different.
Yeah.
I feel like, and people have even said multiple times, I mean, teachers have asked for help from me. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Students are supposed to ask teachers for help. Teachers aren't supposed to ask students. But they do.
Yeah.
I mean, I was asked by my photography teacher because I had nothing to do. I mean, I had 45 minutes where I've already gotten everything done because I did it at home. Because I was bored. Truly, I get bored when I have nothing to do. I mean, today, I'm not kidding, I took a 4-hour nap because I had nothing to do. And it's just that. So I had nothing to do for 45 minutes in her class. So she said, hey, can you help me? Just need you to go grab a camera and do some light painting with low shutter time. So that's what I did. And now I'm pretty sure those are going to be used as examples. And I feel like it's weird to have a teacher ask for help, because that's not just not how it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But it's almost a feeling of gratitude that you're being recognized for your work, which yet again just goes back to your mental state and how you act and how you achieve and how you get it done.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that more people should take advantage of. And just don't.
I wanted to say also earlier, like, what about the people who don't have any connections? No connections whatsoever. They want to become a real estate agent, but they also don't want to go to college and spend ridiculous money. Okay, what are they supposed to do?
And that's just the thing. They can't do that.
Mm-hmm. And then that's the same with being a doctor. That's the same with being a doctor, too. Yes, they want to do it, but they don't have the resources to even start it. So now they have to do something that makes them even more unhappy. It makes them feel miserable every day.
The kid or the student or whatever, they have ambition. They want to do what they want to do, but they don't know how to do it. And that's where I feel like I could help, because I have connections. And even, it's harder to talk to someone who's older than you. It's harder to talk to a teacher than it is to talk to another student. And so I feel like it's finding a student that you can talk to and that that student has connections and is willing to talk to those connections on your behalf.
Yeah.
And yet again, that's just them not taking the opportunity or chance to.
Yeah.
And if they really wanted to, I mean, I'm really glad that there's counselors in the school who are able to, students go up to and ask either for, mental help or just asking a question for school purposes. And I feel like, yet again, it's just them not taking the opportunity to go and do that, which is just really difficult, because if they want to make connections and they want to do real estate, they have to start by making connections.
And it's hard to if you don't know anyone.
And yes.
And especially with now today's world, everyone just kind of cares about themselves. No one really. I mean, it's yeah, if that person has everything, they're not gonna care about anyone else. Someone could go up to them and ask them about something, and they could be like, "I could care less, honestly. I mean, why do you want me to help you?" Type of thing.
Well, what do they get out of it?
Yeah, what do they get?
Because they're asking for help, and so then they get something out of it. They get your help.
Mm-hmm.
But then what does the other person get in return?
Yeah, that makes it even more harder, for sure.
And I think that's where a lot of people fail in helping other people, is just because they don't feel like they get any gain from it.
Yeah.
Which is partially true, but I don't feel like it should stop anyone from helping another person. Because, we're not supposed to work alone. Humans are social creatures. I mean, what? One of the smartest, another smart animal is a dolphin, and what do? They work in groups because they know that they can't get it done on their own. And I feel like as time progresses, we've just gotten further and further from another person, because the idea of having self-identity, the idea of having, just going out and doing what they want to do by themselves and only one person reliable.
Yeah.
Is huge. And I personally feel that. I want to work on my own all the time, because then I know that I'm the only one who needs to get done, who needs to get their stuff done. Yeah. And it's hard working in groups because you don't know if the other person or the other people are going to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
But then that's the problem. Is because you don't trust other people.
I definitely think it makes it harder if you've had that trust issue your whole life. You've always had people who have
100%.
always turned their back on you, who have always said they're going to do this and that makes you want to go to people even less. I think that's something for sure with me, is I just genuinely don't go and talk to people about my feelings anymore. It's just because it's what's the point? It's like talking to a brick wall. I might as well go shout at the brick wall anyway. The brick wall's not going to talk back to me.
Yeah.
The brick wall doesn't have anything to say. Just a way to scream.
Just to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And even at that aspect.
Yeah.
And that's even more lonely. Because yeah, sure, you're getting your frustration out, but at the same time, you're not
talking to no
getting
one.
any help with it.
Mm-hmm. And then you get into a deeper hole. That's where stuff like multiple personality disorder comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
When you have traumatic events and stuff, then your brain can't handle that, and your brain splits. Essentially, there's a girl out there with 43 different personalities. That is insane. It's what? And not having control of your own body. It's what?
And I feel like I have that to a lesser extent, and I'm not kidding you by that. I'll go all the way back to a month ago when I had a mental breakdown, and one part of my brain was just wanting to end it, and the other part of the brain was trying to figure out what's happening, and trying to stop and trying to figure out why and everything. And that's almost, I feel like it's a weird multi-personality without having the other aspects,
Yeah.
where my brain was coming up with solutions, thinking in my, just thinking about a way to stop what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was almost disassociating. Having
Dissociative disorder, kind of, but
having that ability just to have my body do what it wants to do, while my mind works on another thing.
that's a weird one as well. Like dissociative disorder, where like you don't realize what you're doing, and then you snap back to reality again, and it's like, I was just in the kitchen. Why am I here now?
I've had a similar experience. I've had two of those experiences in school, where something's happened, and I almost it disassociate, and it feels like it fast forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can still see, I can still hear, but I don't feel like I necessarily have much control over what I'm doing. I mean, I went from having lunch to being in PE.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole during the entire 7th period math, my body felt like it was on autopilot.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I'm still conscious. I can still see, I can still hear, but I don't feel like I can talk.
Yeah.
And so my body just goes on autopilot. And then I had, in gym, someone actually had to come up and talk to me, and that's when I snapped out of it.
Yeah.
And then I went back and went to normal. That happened also in gym, but it was slightly different. A separate occasion where something happened and I disassociated for a second, and all of a sudden 30 seconds were gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened.
I've had something like that happen too.
And it's almost, it feels a little scary.
I had something like that happen at home. I was in the bathroom, and I remember I wish I was it sounds made up, what I mean to say, but I just remember blinking, and then I was in my room. 1 minute I was in the bathroom, the next minute I was in my room, and my brother was crying, and I talked to my brother. I was like, "Hey, you alright?" And he said, "You just screamed at me. Why would I want to talk to you?" I don't remember screaming at him. I don't remember getting angry at him. I don't remember telling him to shut the front door.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that. And it's like, what? That was the first time that had ever happened, and I don't remember anything.
Yeah, your body goes on autopilot, and for you, it was a weird aggression, and for me, it just is kind of trying to be neutral.
Yeah.
And so, yet again, that's just everyone's different experiences in life. I mean, I don't know exactly everything that's happened in your life, obviously.
Yeah.
But given the little amount of history that I've heard from you, it makes sense why, when you have this association and your body goes on autopilot, it naturally goes to a somewhat angry state.
Yeah.
Versus, for me, where it goes kind of neutral.
Yeah. My brother said too that my voice was like deep too, like deep like this when I was talking. I was like, I don't remember that, but I'm sorry. I don't know how to say sorry to this one because I don't remember any of it. But like, I felt crazy because you like, how do you tell that to someone? How do you tell that to someone? It's like, how do you describe that? Ironically too, that like time displacement has happened more times than I can remember. Where like, how did I get here? Or like not remembering parts of the day, or like, because I've had it happen too before where like, I remember like taking a nap in the day and then waking up and it was the next day. I took a 1 hour nap and it was already the next day. All the stuff that I did, I don't remember doing. Yeah. Like, there's videos that I have that I remember recording that I don't remember recording myself. Like,
you know, I just kind of thought of a good title for this, therapy session.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it kind of just seems like what we're talking about.
Yeah. I do have to use the restroom real quick. I've been trying to hold it till the end. I don't know what you want to talk about, but I have to use the restroom so bad.
It's called a scheduled break. That's what we should do. We should do a scheduled break every like hour.
Yeah, I'm only gonna be like a minute. Literally only gonna take me a minute.
Yeah. This is why. Where is it? Where is it? We have this.
What I do gotta say though is I did post this on the community. What things do you want us to talk about in our upcoming podcast? We will do them in order from most voted to least voted. So the biggest one actually is what's YouTube like. A lot of people want to know what that like workflow is and stuff. What's that like for? So I think that's definitely a good topic to talk about next.
Next time. Yes.
Next time, and the second and third one are dreams and theories. So that's you guys. We don't usually pick them out. It's usually going to be you guys, hopefully, from now on. Because it'd be nice to give the audience a little bit of leeway, for sure, in what we do. So, I've got nothing else to say. You got anything else to say?
I feel like that talk about YouTube and how it's like doing that is going to be very interesting, mainly because you're more into that side of YouTube and content creating like that, where I've laid off all of editing videos, recording videos, and all that, and I do more live stream than anything else.
Live stream's still a thing for the YouTube, so you could talk about that.
Exactly, and I live stream on YouTube. I know it sounds stupid, because realistically, I started on Twitch. I should have kept it on Twitch because there's more free speech, more options to just say what you want to say, whatever. But I found it as another step, and we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
Next one we'll definitely talk about more. I don't necessarily want to leave off on a cliffhanger because that's never a good idea.
Yeah.
In the sense of what we're doing. I mean, any other term would be great, since it gives people more time. They want to come back, so that's what you want to do. If you want to hear our thoughts as content creators, in any sort of fashion or however you want. If you want to come up with more ideas on what you want us to talk about, gladly up to it. I think
leave them in the comments.
Definitely something to consider.
Leave them in the comments for sure.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you for anyone who watches later or listens right now. I feel like it's definitely great. It's one thing to do a podcast and know that no one's on it versus someone who is. And yet again,
that one day we had like 10 people watching. That felt really good.
Yeah, exactly. And last night, I'm not kidding you, I streamed for 1 hour, an hour and a half. No, I streamed for 2 hours. Sorry. Morgan streamed for an hour and a half. But I streamed for 2 hours, and in that 2 hours, it hit a congruent viewer count of 10.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, 10 concurrent viewers, and overall the entire stream length got 47 views.
Yeah.
That's something that is huge for me, because sure, I have a subscriber base of 300 people, but I got most of those subscribers, like 200 of those, from YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people subscribe and then never watch again.
Mm-hmm.
So even having just 10 of those people going and watching is huge.
Yeah.
And yes, some people in that chat were definitely using their free speech. Not the best of their ability to use it. I will say that. A lot of them were
rainbow players.
No, I wouldn't say rainbow players. But
people who
definitely making questionable decisions I want to talk to you off camera about.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like that's a great way to wrap it up, and hope you guys enjoyed this kind of average length stream podcast as it stands, and I think we had a great time. I think we talked about a lot of stuff. Title, I think we've already came up with one.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be a bit weird on the thumbnail, I think, but I think it's definitely a thumbnail I'm currently thinking of in my head. And if you guys want to come back next time for episode 12, where we talk about more on our side of content creation and both of our different aspects of content creation and how we do it and our workflow of that, I feel like it would be really cool for you to follow and hit a notification. That way you can know next time when we do this and you know exactly what we're going to be talking about. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We had a good time. Anything else?
No. I mean, that's it. Like I said, that is your co-host, Hexton, and I am your